The money was out there to shut people up. It's a strange dynamic, money, because there's two sides to 9/11 families. There are ones that were paid and the ones that weren't. But the money was there for one reason: it's to keep people, pay them off and keep them quiet. And I thank people like you that are listening. Thank you very much.
Kristen Breitmeyer, Lori Von Auken, Patti Casazza e Mindy Kleinberg sono conosciute come le vedove del New Jersey. Dal giorno degli attentati hanno unito le loro forze e combattono incessantemente perché la verità venga a galla.
I knew right away. I knew approximately where his office was because he said that he was looking directly across at Tower 1, and I just had a feeling inside. And then when I saw the buildings subsequently collapse, I just said, my God, he is gone. And I fell to the floor, and...
What happened after those planes took off? And I think you feel this way, too. Do you want to talk about that?
You know, I have a lot of problems with the Pentagon. I don't understand how a plane could hit our Defense Department, which is the Pentagon, an hour after the first plane hit the first tower. I don't understand how that is possible. I'm a reasonable person, but when you look at the fact that we spend $500 billion on national defense, and you're telling me that a plane is able to hit our Pentagon, our Defense Department, an hour after the first tower was hit, there are procedures and protocols in place in this nation that are to be followed when transponders are disconnected, and they were not followed on September 11th.
I thought democracy just worked, and I learned that it doesn't go like that. That if you want to live in this great country of ours with our fabulous democracy and our Constitution and, you know, our different rights, freedom of speech, and all the things that we take for granted, you have to fight for those things.
I had faith in all of my leaders on September 10th that they were doing the best jobs that they could to protect the lives of my loved ones, my friends, my countrymen.
I didn't understand that I needed to look at the bigger picture. I've turned into a very disenchanted, fully awake, no longer naive person. I want to meet with the NSA, CIA, and the FBI together in one room. I'm sitting there with a FBI agent who's very high up, not the director, but nonetheless very high up in the FBI. And I said to him, I don't understand. You have the Phoenix memo, you have Zacarias Moussaoui in custody. You had actually been to the flight school that you picked up Zacarias Moussaoui at 4 or 5 times before to investigate other individuals, one of those individuals who happened to be a pilot for Osama bin Laden himself. And you had the Phoenix memo alerting you to the interest that these Middle Eastern men had in flight schools. How is it that you didn't find them prior to 9/11? So this agent says to me, do you know how many flight schools there are in America? Thousands. Do you know how many ground instructors there are? Thousands. And you expected us to go to every single flight school to find these handful of men? And I'm like, well, honestly, yes. So then I'm like, okay, fine, I'll give you that. I'll give you that you couldn't have hit every flight school. I'm like, okay, fine. Well, how is it that if there's thousands of flight schools and you could never have found them, how is it that you went to Embry-Riddle Flight School in Daytona Beach, Florida, hours after the attacks? If there's thousands of flight schools, how did you just happen to go to that one exact perfect school that some of the hijackers went to? How'd you know to go to that school? And he just looked at me and goes, we got lucky.
The last routine communication between ground control and the plane occurred at 8:13 a.m. Between 8:13 and 8:20, Flight 11 became unresponsive to ground control. Additionally, radar indicated that the plane had deviated from its assigned path of flight. Soon thereafter, transponder contact was lost. 2 Flight 11 airline attendants had separately called American Airlines reporting a hijacking, the presence of weapons, and the inflictions of injuries on passengers and crew. At this point, it would seem abundantly clear that Flight 11 was an emergency. And yet, according to NORAD's official timeline, NORAD was not contacted until 20 minutes later at 8:40 a.m. Tragically, the fighter jets were not deployed until 8:52 a.m., a full 32 minutes after loss of contact with Flight 11. Why was there a delay in the FAA notifying NORAD? Why was there a delay in NORAD scrambling fighter jets? How is this possible when NEADS was fully staffed with planes at the ready monitoring our airspace? Flight 175, 77, and 93 all had the same repeat pattern of delays in notification and delays in scrambling fighter jets. Delays that are unimaginable considering a plane had, by this time, already hit the World Trade Center. Is it luck that aberrant stock trades were not monitored? Is it luck when 15 visas are awarded based on incomplete forms? Is it luck when emergency FAA and NORAD protocols are not followed? Is it luck when a national emergency is not reported to top government officials on a timely basis? To me, luck is something that happens once. When you have this repeated pattern of broken protocols, broken laws, broken communication, one cannot still call it luck.
As a Midwesterner, I might say to you, I've been impressed time and again with the pride you've expressed in New York City, and I admire that greatly, and I think that may your help, your leadership, and your cooperation with this commission.
Shortly. If you want to be disruptive, you will be removed from this room.
Remember this, your government funded and trained Al-Qaeda.